Okay, stop now. The thing with meditation music is that it never stops. It goes on forever and ever and ever and ever and ever. But we are here today, and I am looking forward to meet my friend JD here to talk a little bit about creation, about art in this quite complicated world that we all live in. Maybe I should just keep that going. It's so relaxing. Hello from Poland. Hi, Poland. Hi, everybody. So let's see. Did JD send me a request? JD, where are you? Don't leave me hanging here alone. I can see you. Wow, so many of you showed up. Hi, everybody. Hi. That's amazing. It's so cool. But I still don't see JD. Sent me a friend's request here. Or a join request. What is it called? Is it called a join request? No, Valeria, I'm not gonna fall asleep. Majura Chile just said that I'm gonna fall asleep. No, I'm not. I'm fine. Oh, wow. Cookie is out of the cage, so he might interrupt a little bit. I receive a lot of requests. But hi, Ellen is here. Everybody say hi, Ellen. I love you too. Mwah. Oh, Dafia man loves my hair. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Yes, JD, send me a friend's request. A join, whatever that is called. Or can I add you? How am I gonna do this? Can I? Say hi to the world. Hello, you're live on Instagram now. Cool. Hi.
It finally went through.
It went through. I was crowded. There were so many requests, and I'm like, oh.
I gotta say, that was an incredible.
My awesome budgie cookie. Hi.
Aww.
Hey, don't show your ass to the world.
That's a great way to start the live. Yeah, just turn around. That was such a beautiful introduction. I think it's so fitting to what we're gonna talk about.
Absolutely. You know, I think when I saw you putting it out, talking about the power of art, and I was thinking about it. Art has so many forms. You know, I mean, first of all, I mean, this is mainly my audience here. So would you please introduce yourself so people know who you are and why we know?
Yes, of course. Thank you. Well, my name is JD Neto. I am an author. I've written a few fantasy novels, fictional biographies. I've edited an anthology, and Jen and I met through mutual friends, the amazing Dave and Chuck, and we actually worked together on a song for Henderbell called Shadow of the Bells last year. But we also met during the synthesis tour. We got to hang out a few times.
That is when we met for the first time, yeah.
That was when we met in person, correct. That's when we met in person for the first time. And it was just such awesome creative synergy. And then it's just been an incredible friendship that's been developing. And then we chatted live a few weeks ago, I think, and we're like, okay, we actually have to do this officially. So we can talk about the power of art in the broken world, just because I feel that's where we kind of, our art links toward. And yeah, so that's a little bit about me.
Totally. Yeah, I believe no, we do not talk now. Okay?
Hey, he wants the spotlight.
Yeah, but he says all weird things like, this is shit, and stuff like that. So we don't want that here. We don't want negative energy right now. How is your, if somebody asks you to define art, what is art?
Ooh, wow.
I know. I thought about it.
Oh my God. Okay, we're starting like that. All right. Art is obviously self-expression. But I don't believe in empty art. I think art exists to inspire, to challenge, and to make us think. And it was art that actually carried us through the past year and reminded us
when you say it, 2020 was a shit year, and everybody who tells me it was amazing, no, it wasn't. It was a
No,
shit year.
it was very it was very challenging. No, it was and it was art, at least I can say, that kept us sane through all that, just because as creators, whenever shit hits the fan, what do? We create. We're like, okay, I need to get something out of my system. But I want to turn the question to you, the same question. What is art to you?
I thought about it, and clearly I'm a musician, but I also discovered painting during 2020. I dived into like acrylic painting, and I believe like everything you create, and it doesn't matter what it is, when you are able to create something that hasn't existed before you matter. Sorry. When you create something, whether if it's a musical piece or a story or a painting or even like a cooked dish, when you cook something, that's art too. And I truly believe that art is just another result form of creation.
Yeah.
That's what I came
And
to.
wouldn't you say that as artists, we first need to be completely broken before we can create something meaningful?
There's a sad truth to that. Yes, I
Right?
agree. Sadly, that I don't know. Sadly is the wrong word, but I observe myself throughout the years that I am at my best craft when I am pissed
Yes.
or sad.
Yes.
Really weird. When I'm like really everything is smooth sailing, there's not a cloud inside, and everything is beautiful. I feel like whatever comes out of me, like musical wise, sounds like a stupid children's song, and it doesn't satisfy me. It's so weird.
I agree. I agree.
It also feels like you have like an inner hurt or anger or rage or something like inside of you that needs to get out, and then you're able to be functioning as an artist and creative person. I don't know about you. Where do you find your inspiration when you write? Like, is it life? Is it dreams? What is it?
I mean, so my first art medium was actually drawing. I started drawing when I was 3 years old. I found out that I could. Yeah. And get this, my first drawing, this is crazy, and my mother said it. It was a crucifixion of Jesus Christ.
Whoa.
I drew.
Me? Seriously?
Yes. So right there, you knew that I was gonna be one of those, right? Like, okay. And I just and to me, creativity always lived in the gray, right? In the hard topics, in the difficult conversation. And I just remember finding inspiration in these broken moments, even as a kid. I was so where I'm from in Brazil, I'm from a very tiny town, and I just remember my dad played soccer and was a politician, and then he has a son that's completely artistic. And I just remember being bullied because of that when I was a kid, not even in my teenage years, when I was a child. And that's when I started questioning this, but I also was like, but I can draw inspiration. And then stories started coming together for me at a young age. And last year, I just found inspiration in my brokenness as a person as well, and in everything that was happening around us as a planet. And
as human in general, and it doesn't. It's not funny, but that's the thing, though. It doesn't matter if you're old, young, thin, tall, thick, female, male. It doesn't matter what you are. We're all in this together as a humankind, right? So
and what have you, as far as an artist, let's say it's 2020, you just heard that the world is going to be in a major shutdown and all these things are happening. As a creator, what did you do?
Okay, wait. My first reaction to that, honestly, was I was giggling a little bit, and I was kind of like thinking, this is funny. I'm on vacation for once in like 20 years. In 20 years, like the last time I spent more time at home, like longer at home than 2 weeks, I'd say that was 16 years ago. And when everything that is like, you have these columns in your life, and those columns define your life, and if that really traveling airport, jet lag, hotel, venue, tour bus, venue, hotel, airport, jet lag, and that nonstop. It's like a rotating hamster wheel.
Yeah.
And out of a sudden, all of that is taken away from you. And the only thing it is being replaced with is your couch in your living room.
Mm.
You look at that couch and it's out of a sudden very silent. At least for me, it was very, very silent. I mean, thank God I have Amy and the guys because they kick my ass and they make me create and work. But creating wise, I had a tough year. Honestly, I wrote one single song in the year of 2020.
Wow.
Because what I also realized is you have to have that trigger in your life, that yes, Cookie, right? That inspiration, that thing that makes you feel and makes you want to create and makes you want to share parts of yourself with others. Mm-hmm. And what I found really, really challenging in 2020 was my couch doesn't give me any input. I mean, what am I to write about? Another friend, for example, says everything is inspiration, from this bird to the guitar to a cup of tea. Like, it doesn't matter what. It's just a matter of if you recognize it and see it as inspirational. But I found that very, very hard for me in 2020. So, like I said, I just came up with one song because I felt I had not really much to say. I was missing the stimulation of my life, the input, if that makes any sense.
Oh, it does. Absolutely.
Like I wrote one song, which is for over a decade.
Yeah. No, and I relate to the silence. I gotta say that. I relate to the silence because,
right.
At least with me as a creator, I've had on relationship. I'm one of those introverts, extroverts. Like, I love like being around people. After that, I have to recharge. Bye, Cookie.
Yeah. Cookie. Oh, he's got back.
But 2020 for me, it was too quiet. And I even had to seek therapy around the summertime because it was too silent. And there was a point where I'm like, where's this art going? Where's this even going in a world that is completely shattered? And obviously here in America, there's so much happening in that spectrum that I'm like, I took a social media break. I stopped reading anything related to that at the point.
I did that too. I mean, most of the people who are in the chat right now know that I did the YouTube project called Gen Off the Line. Mm-hmm. It was too much because what happened was, like, people couldn't get their stimulation for their own creative art. And I mean, not only painters and musicians and writers, but also, the housewife at home who cooks dinner for the family. Everybody who creates something. There was no more stimulation. You couldn't go to a movie theater. You couldn't go to restaurants. You couldn't go to, like, the whole thing was just shut down. And it was, like you said, super silent out of a sudden. Yeah. What happened, us as humans, we tried to compensate that lack of stimulants with being online. In the beginning, I thought that was like amazing, like, a Q&A with that superstar in the living room, then like a live stream together with that person. Then I did the 1-minute jams. Of course, that's sort of like an online thing. But at the end of 2020, I realized that the stimulation you get from online screen content, whatever it is so not the same. And it kind of like bothering me. I was tired of seeing everybody like, look at me, I light my hair on fire, look at me,
me. I know. And tired of like the distance. In the distance, right? Because we were close but distant at the same time. I think that's such a 2020 thing that we're always going to remember. We were close but far.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, very well put. Yeah.
And like you said, where was community? Where was the theater? Where were the concerts? Like, you have so many, obviously, musicians, my friends. I was like, oh my God, like, where's this going? What is going to happen? Where's art? I even posted the other day. I'm like, I'm just ready to go to a concert, to sit down and just to experience art that way in person. For me, when they canceled all the book signings last year, we had a massive little display in New York. Cancel, 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 cancel. I'm like, art is nothing without not only the artist but an audience, right?
Audience and well,
And
you know,
humanity.
the humanity is missing because
Yeah,
it doesn't track. The moment when you play a show and you feel that, I said that a million times, and you feel that energy exchange between you and the audience. I guess it's the same with you when you do a signing tour. That exchange of like feelings and emotions, they give you, you give them, you take, they take, and that energy exchange is, it just can't be replaced with little hearts and thumbs up, and it's
yes,
just not the same.
it's not. Like
Absolutely, yeah, I agree.
and with I remember when I was doing the book tour for the Whispers of the Fallen. Every time I met readers, they had these incredible stories about books and their lives.
Yeah.
And I just remember, but I'm talking about meaningful, like, oh, I was gonna take my own life. And it was this story, was this book, it was this song that actually inspired me to keep on living. And I just
Right.
remember I was so inspired by that I created the Save by the Page movement where
Yeah.
readers could share with other
Yeah.
people. So without that input, I'm tired of Zoom. Like I got to one, like, you know, I want to.
You talk to me who just finished Zoom interview number 78.
Oh. So how are you feeling, Jen?
I
You
think I'm
know,
done, guys. I think I'm done. I spoke to every single press person in Europe.
we were like, so Jen and I were like, she was like, hey, JD, do I call you? I'm like, we're calling it? Like, what? I was like, what? What happened? We're calling, so it's just like a WhatsApp thing? What's going on?
It was just
So,
a little bit too much, yeah.
and how was that? Okay, but then I think we also should talk about the expression of art that was birthed out of 2020 from you. I mean, for all of us, because, you know, I think you guys released a little something yesterday, right? Just a tiny little thing. How was that?
You talk about that thing, that video thing with the very slow live chat.
I was on the premiere, and I'm gonna say hi. When I started seeing, I'm like, you know what? I'm gonna spare the guys. Like, no, I'm just gonna watch the video, just enjoy it. But so seeing the arts right now that you guys created out into the world because I see 2021 as a transition. I think we're living a strange transition. How does that feel to see that art finally here?
You know, like I said, creating music is a form of art, but the same way the accompanying visual is another way of art. And Eric did such a, when I first saw it, I remember Amy texted it into our band text group.
Yeah.
She texted it and she was like, hey, here's the link for the video. Check it out. Let me know what you think. And it was, I just got up in the middle of the night, just wanted to drink some water and go back to bed. And I saw that and I'm like, okay, I'm going to watch it. I swear I couldn't go back to sleep. I watched it, I think 7, 8 times in a row.
Yeah.
It's so flowing.
It is.
It speaks to you in such a fantastic, mighty, but also creepy, but interesting and powerful and empowering and encouraging way.
Yeah.
I believe that when you manage to be, okay, this is a horrible comparison, but if you do cook the perfect dinner and you also happen to create the perfect look on the table, and you also manage to, for everybody who's not into like writing music or books, you know,
yeah,
all of you guys, the arts, it's a matter of creation, and creation is not only music or sculptures or paintings or books. It's everything you do that exists because of you, because you matter. And when you cook for a friend or for yourself, make a nice presentation. If that looks good, that's a creative art.
Yeah.
If you have the perfect music that goes with your dinner, that's art. The talent of matching things together that go together really beautiful and create this end result. Like, for example, We have this awesome song, Better Without You, but also now this mind-blowing video, which goes together with that sounds very arrogant, but with the beauty of the song.
No. I mean, no. When I saw it, okay, so allow me, because when I saw it, all the things you said translated into it. And even on my end, I'm not only a writer, but I design the covers, I create everything. And I completely agree, because without the visuals, you don't really grasp that immediate emotion. Like, there's something special about that. And I think when we combine all of this power, right, into this art medium, the communication, the power, like the veracity, the boldness, it's just there. So and that's why we create community. I think one of the reasons why I love music, books, movies, community. We create community with, look at all the people watching us. This is community because of art. And I think it's humbling that people even take the time to like enjoy the things we create. Because I remember being a kid, I'm like, oh my God, like, who the fuck wants to spend time in this world that's in my head? And then, you know, you see all these people, like, I guess the same with you. Like, you created all this amazing music, and look at this now.
Yes, there is a very big part of me that enjoys, like I said, that interaction. But to quote Steve Vai, as an artist, your ego shall not get in the way, because that part of yourself that enjoys that audience is your ego. You need like something to tell you, yes, it's valid, it's cool, yeah, they like it, so that means I'm good. But I think as a true ego-free artist, you have to, when you get to that point that you acknowledge the fact that you should be grateful and thankful for the fact that you're able to do what you do, that's when you become the real free artist.
Agreed.
As long as you create music and just check on your Instagram and check on your YouTube, like, how many likes do I have? How many likes do I have?
I agree. Yeah.
Art. And the core of art shall always be like, we are all a little bit about this. That's me. Look at me. Look at me. That's what artists have. But the goal shall not be so many likes, so many people in the audience. And, you know, even if I play with Evanescence in front of 25,000 people, that doesn't mean that I suck when I play in a little shitty bar in front of 10 people.
Yes.
It's a weird thing about this ego mindset, because we all have it in ourselves. We all need validation. We all need confirmation. We all need the likes and everything. But if you free yourself from that and you create for the sake of creating, that is the goal of the whole thing.
One thing.
Damn it.
No, that's such a powerful thing you said. And I remember last year, wow. Okay. So last year, during this whole pandemic, being alone here in my apartment, I was like, I'm going to do something that I haven't done in a long time. I'm going to draw stuff for me, for my audience, the audience of one.
Perfect. Yeah.
This is not going to get shared anywhere. I'm not going to post anywhere. This is for me. And I started working on these sketches that were for me. It was just something that I wanted to enjoy.
Yeah.
Because, right, once our art is public, we do tend to fall into that, like, oh, how many likes did it get? Where is it going? Am I getting this? And it's like, but where's the core of that? Where's the essence of what I'm creating? Am I forgetting what got me here in the first place, right?
Exactly. That's like the biggest mislead that can happen in arts. Wrong reasons to be creative. Being creative, like I said, there are so many forms of being creative, but it always means like you matter and you create something that hasn't existed before you mattered. And that should be the main reason. Like, you're like pouring yourself out in something, whether if it's knitting socks or cooking dinner or writing music or writing a book or painting. I mean, I dived into acrylic painting because for me personally, I figured out like 2020 was, like I said, thank God for Amy and the guys, because it made me feel close to them, to work on music with them, even though we've been sitting on different continents. But at the same time, I realized that I felt so lonely and so far away from them. So each time I would touch a guitar, it made me feel like, oh yeah, we're not playing. Oh yeah, remember the tour was postponed. Ah, yeah, right, I
Yeah.
can't travel. And that was turning into this weird, really mentally challenging, hard thing for me. Because out of a sudden, the one and only thing that brought joy to my life, it was like that glowing, big sunlight, warm ball that always was amazing for me, turned into this dark thing that reminded me of what I don't have.
Mm.
I struggled a lot. And also, I figured, okay, if that is the music outlet, if that is sort of like a weird outlet for a while, I'm just going to use other outlets, you know? And then you think, and I bought colors and like, you know, brushes and everything. I started painting.
Mm.
And I was like, oh, this is amazing. This is cool. I started intensifying my knitting. I knitted more than ever. I have so many, look, I mean, look at
Yeah,
this.
no, really.
Look what I did. This is a patchwork blanket I did in 2020, okay?
I love
You
that.
see how big it is? It's giant. So
I love that. I love that.
I started knitting. And then I was diving into cooking like a crazy person. My friends were invited for dinner so many times. And I figured out new recipes. I made sushi for the first time in my life. All that kind of little things that are outlets for something that's boiling inside of you.
Yeah.
The one outlet just doesn't work for you and doesn't do it for a while, it's okay. And also, I realized that I had to talk with myself. I had to tell myself that it's okay. It's okay to be tired. It's okay to have
Yeah.
a lazy week. It's totally fine. I'm more like the person, I stress about myself all the time. Like I'm sitting here like there were times I couldn't even watch a movie because
Same.
I felt like
Yes.
physically sitting here, staring into that TV and not being productive, not doing
Yes.
anything.
Like, oh,
And
this is a waste of time. I could be doing something right now. Like, yeah.
exactly. And you always get this bad feeling about yourself. You're like, oh, I should be doing something better.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
I learned in 2020 to just like relax and see it as what it is, and not try to force myself too hard to be someone that I'm not.
Yeah. No, honestly, 2020 was my cocoon. I will always say that
Yeah.
because yes, it was the shittiest, it was insane.
Right.
But I got this tattoo of the, I don't know if you can see, it's a moth inside different shapes.
Don't tell me you got the evanescence moth.
Well, so okay, so when I was this is the cool thing. So when I was writing the Broken Miracle, I created this analogy between the moth and the butterfly, right?
Yes.
The butterfly looks pretty. The butterfly, everybody thinks it's out there, it's colorful. Whereas the moth, even though he looks a little creepy, it's just as innocent. But the moth loves the light to the point where he dies seeking the light.
Yeah. Yeah.
So there was this quote that I did on the Broken Miracle, and it says, "I'm like a moth surrounded by butterflies, harmless, but I still look like a."
Wow.
Yeah. And then it says, "The misfit will always be judged until understood." And that defined my 2020 to the point where I got a tattoo where it's a moth that says misfit by different shapes, and the moth doesn't fit anywhere.
Oh,
Because,
that's so meaningful. That's cool.
right? Because I was like, I have to embrace my true identity, regardless if people want me to be. Right?
That's the whole meaning of the album, you know? It's us people have become so, people in general, not only artists, but the general people, the humankind has become so used to Instagram filters and so addicted to likes and validation, and everything is just like, look at me, I'm so perfect. Look at me, I'm so trained. I'm so fit. Look at me, I have the perfect lifestyle. And I truly believe, like I said that probably the last time we talked, I believe like this planet is, it's hurting. It's hurting these days. Like what, everything that goes on with you guys in the States, with politics, with the Black Lives Matter movement, with climate change, you know, everything is, and everywhere on the world, it's just so hurting and so happening at the same time. And I truly believe that we can heal our planet. But what we first have to do is let go of all the masquerades, let go of all the facades, let go of
Yeah.
all that fake denial.
Like,
And
it's like we're wired to be
yes,
what gets more likes, right?
yeah,
We're wired to
yeah,
be what gets more comments.
exactly. And I truly believe we can make this happen as humankind, because it's not just us artists being in this, you know, it's everybody being in this situation. And like I said earlier, if anybody tells me 2020 was amazing, unless you are the CEO of a hand sanitizer company or something.
Or masks, or I don't know. I agree. I mean, listen, it's I agree, and I'm getting to a point right now where I understand that we're living a transition, a season of transition as a planet, right?
Yes.
And I think more than ever, right, we have to be willing to listen, willing to be observant, but also willing to share
Yeah.
and to raise our voices toward the things that matter.
Totally.
We
Totally
you
agree.
know, I just keep seeing sometimes emptiness gets a lot more shares than meaningful things. Um, so it's and that's, yeah. So, oh, look who's back. But
I agree with you that what you said, that 2021 is going to be a transitioning year for us to learn. You know, I how much I hated that word, the new now. You know, people
yeah,
are always like, oh, like it is correct to live in the now, but defining something that is not for eternity as the now is like, I'm not sure about this.
yeah,
And I truly believe that things will change for a better. But I also honestly believe that things will be different, very different from what we were allowed to experience while we've been on this planet for the past, whatever, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60 years.
yeah.
I think things will have to change, but I don't believe that we won't be able to manage to change that and bring back the humanity to our lives, because that is the one thing in by now that we all miss the most, I believe, like just humanity, like we talked before.
Do you see a renaissance happening as this shifts? You know, like what's your take? Because I keep hearing that from different people. What's your take on that?
I mean, I'm not any omen or you know, fortune, like I don't know. um I try to embrace the here and now, the day, the moment, the minute, the second, and try to just not worry too much
Mm,
about things that I can change and I can influence. My thing is like, you know, I walk through life and I try to be the best version of myself.
yeah.
Whether if it's whether it's, you know, stupid example, but recycle, help an old lady to cross the street, you
The
know,
small thing. Yeah.
somebody something up, the tiniest little things. I believe we all should just like try to be the best versions of our possible self. And if you carry enough empathy and understanding for your environment, I believe that there's going to be this transition year in a sort of like leading to the better, but I don't know what the better is yet.
I like that. I like that. That's
Shoulder? A cookie. I'm sorry.
what did
On my shoulder.
I am so glad this happened. I mean, because you're gonna go to YouTube after this, right?
Yes, totally. We're gonna
So
meet
that's
up.
like that's a nice that's a nice way for you to go.
Yeah, I'm like, hi.
Hello, hi. But I mean, I
Then
think
again, YouTube is another creative outlet. Like
yeah,
creating videos. Before 2020, I was doing like short videos, of course, but I completely dived into how editing videos can be like another creative thing for your mind work.
yeah,
You know, creating videos. Like, oh, maybe I should use a little bit more of this and add a little bit more here and make this more funny and that more serious, and it's another art form as
and
well.
just for the sake of art, right? Just for the sake of the art, just to have another creative medium
To
out
be
there.
honest, I love to put out my YouTube videos because I have a beautiful, beautiful, beautiful fan base, and I totally enjoy the live chats with my girls and boys, and it just warms my heart because all we do is talk about cookie and animals and food, mainly food. Mostly, yes, I said your name, yes, but mostly we talk food, and it's just a good, positive community. You know,
Yeah.
sometimes you need to dive into that pool of positivity.
Oh, absolutely, absolutely. And again, I
Heal.
think that from the book community, that's something I very much enjoy as well, because you get people that respect you, that are invested in you, willing to have these healthy conversations, and that actually care about not only your art but you and where you stand, and they want to hear your feedback and things like that. I think that's so awesome. But yeah, I mean, so
Okay,
what's
you
next?
writer. I have
Yeah.
one question for you.
Ooh.
You
Oh,
must have seen the movie The End of the Tour.
no.
Oh my God. Big, 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 big movie recommendation. You
Okay.
should again. Ah, good Lord.
I'm
What's
gonna
wrong?
write that down.
The End of the Tour is one of my most favorite movies. It's literally about a writer who
Mhm.
wrote an insane piece of a giant book. And then there's this Rolling Stone reporter, young guy, also like writing, but of course working at Rolling Stone, and looking at this guy as a super rock star of writers. And he wants to go on a reading tour with him. And that movie is one of the most inspirational, most brutal, honest, and realistic, even if it's scary, movies that I've seen in so many years. Besides
Really?
Spinal Tap, of course. But that is really a recommendation. I really,
I
everybody who
will.
can watch the movie, watch it.
I
It's
will. I
so
wrote it down. I'm watching it this weekend.
about art and creation and being inside of the head of the author, being inside of the audience head. It's really, really good.
What, you want to know what's like in my head?
Oh, but trust me, nobody wants to be in my head. No, you don't want that.
Exactly. It's quite scary.
Yeah, look, if people have some questions for you or me in here, do you guys have any questions? Like, this would be it.
Yeah.
Post your questions if you have any.
Yes.
So,
Before we depart into the netherworld.
and Cookie, of course.
Yeah, of course. In
And
the end.
yes, the movie is called The End of the Tour. Oh, there's a long question. Majura, Chile. Val, what do you have? Hang on, stop. Wait, stop. As artists and people who channel energies and emotions through writing, music, etc., is there anything you have learned this past year that has surprised you about yourself? Valeria from Majura, Chile. Thank you for that question. JD, go.
So the one thing I discovered and was surprised to discover about myself is that I thought vulnerability was a weakness, not a strength. I thought, now I know better, because I used to think that being vulnerable was being too weak and just being too out there.
Right.
Where we live in a vulnerable world where we need to take chances in order to thrive. So I was surprised. I was very surprised to myself. What about you?
I think the most surprising thing about me was that I wrote a song, that one song in 2020, and I wrote it when I was driving back home. And I didn't write it, but that was the core of the idea. I drove back from my music school, and like I said, I struggled a lot in 2020, and I truly was in belief that I am losing my mind, like really losing my mind. I saw it was night, and I drove on a very lonely, like empty street, and there were trees on the left and on the right hand side, and I saw rainbow colors in the trees, and I said, okay, this is it. I'm really my mind. I was listening to the Devin Townsend podcast about his struggles with mental health and everything, and then I look at the trees and I see rainbows at night, and I was like, this triggered the whole song. And then I was like, this might be a little bit of weird. This might be a little bit of weird.
Well, we're in it for the weird, let's be honest.
Okay, so the song is called Testicles. And the chorus line, the hook line is, let me live inside your testicles and recreate my existence. Hello. Which means, like, I am here on this planet. I have all that experience of my life, of things, of friends, of, you know, my environment. But what if I could start over and just start new, like completely from scratch, start new? And then the second line goes, let me crawl back to your uterus and define me new. Like, create me again, make me a new person so that I can let go of that horrible 2020, of that big, black, dark, negative, mentally challenging thing.
Yeah.
And that was a weird thing for me to write. And also, for the first time, I mean, not for the first time, but the first time on a recording, I used like Death Girls and Fry screaming, because there was so much emotion inside of me. But also I felt with all that silence around, all that silence around me, that I wasn't sure how to compensate everything that was inside of me. But the song turned out to be great, and it's gonna be on my third solo album. Another thing, everybody's like, I don't know if you can relate. Did everybody walk up to you like, now with all the time on your hands, how many books have you written?
Absolutely. They wanted sequels for everything I've ever written, for Henderbell, for Whispers, for this or that. I'm like, I don't think you guys get it. Like, I was obviously working. So I was supposed to have a release in the beginning of 2020. We had to split the book into two because we're like, okay, like, what is happening now? But there was this sort of demand from, I don't like the word demand, but there was, I don't think it's because people were willing to consume something. Yes. Yeah, because people needed an escape, right?
Yeah.
But there was, absolutely, there was, like, they wanted a sequel for Henderbell. All I managed as far as new project was the novella for Henderbell that we did the song for, Whispers in the Dark. Those 5 chapters were like I had already drafted the Broken Miracle by then, so I was just polishing it up. But new stuff, that was all I was able to make.
Yeah, definitely. I feel like almost every interview, people go like, so with all that time on your hands, are you writing on your third solo album now that Evanescence record is done? And honestly, no. I will write. That's what we spoke about earlier. It's okay to be uninspired when you don't allow yourself to feel inspiration from whatever, the guitar, the story, the tree, the flower. And it's okay to allow yourself to not be productive.
Yeah.
And I will not force myself to write something just for the sake of writing. I will write as soon as I feel emotions that I have to let go through the outlet of music. I will not write for the sake of writing.
Yes, I've come to terms with that as well. I think I've got to a point where I want to be more unapologetic about where I am, but I also want my art to reflect of where I am at that moment, where, you know, not only to create something just for the sake of it, but to really bring something meaningful to the table. Yeah, I agree with that.
Yeah, and it's definitely different when you have like a normal job compared to sitting at home and trying to come up with creative content. I think it's a different thing if you physically just do a job, or your entire you know, my whole soul, the system, my heart, my entire body is like into that creation. It's not a physical thing that I'm just doing.
Yeah.
You know, it's not like
Yes,
just having
exactly.
this,
Yeah,
you
like
know, and
someone actually here on the chat said, I think this is very interesting because that's what we as fans turn to our favorite artists, maybe music, books, or is what helps us cope. And so yeah, like they say the word demand, that's exactly what I meant. It's not in a bad way, but you know, we all
yeah,
crave that
thank you.
escape, especially last year. We craved an escape. We really, really did.
Yeah, totally. And I believe when you are an artist and you manage to reach and touch your audience emotionally, and you can give them whatever it is they seek in your art, relief, um, escape, just a happy time, just spending some good vibe time, whatever it is that they soak out of your art, if
Mm-mm,
that makes it.
it does.
That is real goal in music, you know, because you don't do that. I mean, all artists are kind of like people pleasers, but it makes me the happiest when I hear stories, just like Annie just said, when you feel like you move people, you touch people
Yeah.
emotionally, you reach to them, and that
Yeah.
is a beautiful connection between creator and audience. You know,
Yeah.
that is priceless,
I agree.
priceless.
And it's humbling too. I think it's also humbling that people connect so much, you know,
Yes,
and I think it goes back to what you said about artists that's ego free. And just to
yeah,
remember that it's such an amazing thing to be able to have community and to connect through art. I think it's incredible. Well, people are like, I'm going to your YouTube channel soon. They're ready.
yeah, guys,
They're
relax.
ready.
We still have like a little bit of time.
I know they're like they're ready to go. They're ready to rock and roll. and
Man, this
what's the video gonna be today? Like what is
So
it?
I started like 10 weeks or 11 weeks ago. I started this YouTube series called Style of the Week.
Mm.
And everybody who has seen it will agree I struggle a lot. Another way, this would be, for example, me trying to push myself to be creative,
Mm.
um, which is interesting as well, because well, okay, the series is about, I pick one of the comments from the video the week before where
Okay.
people suggest like a musical style. So they suggest all kinds of stuff. Sometimes I don't even know what they're talking about, but
Okay.
it's cool. So I pick one
And then
style.
you got to do your research, right?
Well, and then my job is I have 1 week time from Sunday to that Saturday premiere.
Okay.
I have time to create a little piece of music in that musical style and make it sound like it. So I would, of course, inform myself, learn, educate myself, and make a video, and also try to educate the audience a little bit. I mean, if you're watching a funny video, why not learn at the same time, right?
Yeah.
And as soon as people think as soon as people stop learning or being convinced about knowing everything, I believe this is the start of the downfall, because nobody will ever know everything, and
Yeah.
nobody will ever be able to do everything. So you
Yeah.
can always enlarge your skills, become a better person, and learn and try to just, grow as a human. And I just try to like learn all these different styles. Some of them I'm completely like, dubstep was a hard one. Thanks, Valeria. Yes, dubstep was such a such a hard one, because I am an idiot. I have no clue what's dubstep. So I was like, okay, I'm gonna listen to dubstep artists. I'm gonna
Let's see
read
what
about
this is.
dubstep. Woo! And that throws you into that whole world, and then you have to come up with something. I mean, I have 6 days of time to write something, and it's challenging. And sometimes I believe like sometimes I'm not being functional at all for that. It also happened that I was late because I was just like, I couldn't. But then again, one part of me says it's okay. The other part says, no, 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 you got the strawberries waiting. You have to put out the video on Saturday. No,
Yeah.
no, no, can't be late. And that little, you can't be late, it pushes you. And it keeps me productive. I wouldn't say like creative at to describe it first, but the first word would be it keeps me productive, and
Yeah.
that helps me be creative.
I actually thrive on deadlines. When I know there's a deadline for some, I just go into that zone where I'm like, all right, this is a challenge and it's time to get creative.
Yeah.
Obviously, I don't want it to be tacky or shallow, but for some like you, like, okay, time to, deliver, time to get this going, time to get this done. So I definitely relate to that. I also find that whenever you are willing to be open to things and you acknowledge that you can always get better, it also keeps you in a mental state of, okay, I can still learn and adapt and grow always
Yeah.
until the end of this life. That's what I'm going to be doing.
Yeah.
Right.
It's all about being humbled in life and not walk through life as if you're a king or queen. It's just life is one learning path, and you should never stop. And no matter where on that road you are, you shall not stop and think you're on the top of the mountain. It's just,
Yeah.
it's,
So
it's
there's
just
one of my favorite books is The Alchemist. Have you heard about that book by Paulo Coelho? Have you heard about it? So
I
it's
heard
about
about it, read it.
The point of the book is this guy has amazing dream about a treasure, and he's dreaming of the treasure, but at the end of the journey he realizes the treasure was the in between, the journey leading up to the reach.
Yeah.
And to me that's such a powerful statement in every aspect of life, whether through art or I don't know,
Totally.
through everything. The journey is the reward.
Yeah, totally. I totally agree. It's the process of being creative, the process of doing, the process of, and of course enjoying the end result when you, for example, cook.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah.
Create something beautiful and then it's gone within 10 minutes. Oh.
I know. It's like, oh my God. Like I was thinking,
dinner,
right? It's like I swear, Henderbell was like a year and a half or something like that. And people can read it in like 5 hours. I'm like, oh my God, okay.
Cool. Oh my God.
Right? But so let me see here. So you go to YouTube now, right? I'm sorry.
Well, I still have, but I have a little, guess what?
What?
Don't let me say the I word again. I have one last interview, but then I'm done.
So there are 79 interviews?
Yes. But this one is a mailer. I just have to mail it back before 7. And
don't you love those? You gotta type everything out.
Okay. Hi, YouTube.
I love that. I love that. So one thing that I always get asked, and I think it's a good way for us to leave people with a little nugget. I always ask, if I want art to be my living, what's the one thing I need to be ready for? People always ask me that. I want to throw that question out to you.
I can say that when you decide to become a full professional musician, life is always easy and life doesn't throw rocks in your way. It's about your passion and your consistency for your passion and for the sake of doing, creating, and living that life that you've chosen. I had times, for example, I had times my bank account was shut down. I didn't have enough money to buy food. I just decided to not do those, these kind of jobs like playing at a wedding and that kind of stuff. I was just like, no, I'm not going to do this anymore. I want to do what I want to do, not what people want me to do. And that caused, hard times every now and then in my life where I'm living off tap water. And I learned this amazing trick. You buy some noodles, and then when you boil the pasta, just half the time, and not, so it's still not really like big, and you eat it, it'll grow inside of your stomach and it keeps you like good for longer. So I've been through that,
Wow.
In my early, and that still didn't make me go to like get another day job or something, a 9 to 5 job, because I just truly believed. And if you believe in your
Yes.
art, in what you do, that is the biggest feed for your passion.
Yes.
And that'll push you through. So
Yeah.
if I think about what would be my priority, being an artist and being creative, but well, my life sucks a little bit because I don't have enough money right now. I can't really buy food, and or hey, I have enough money to make a decent, good living, but I don't have time for making my art anymore and be creative.
Yeah.
I would always, money is not important, but the ability of having the blessing of being creative, to being able to create, that is something priceless, and no money can buy that to you.
Oh, I love that. Oh my God.
I totally always choose, like, this is the biggest thing. You have to be in for the passion, the love,
Yeah.
and the sake of creation.
Yeah.
And definitely not definitely not because of the money or the fame or the jet set life. That's the wrongest approach ever.
Yeah. Well, that was amazing. Oh my God, that was great. And Cookie joined us again. Hi.
And joined us. Cookie, did you join to say bye-bye? Because we're like, yeah. Mm-hmm. Do you want to say bye-bye to everybody? Yeah? Don't show your ass again. Say bye-bye to everybody. No? Cookie, look there. It's you. No, okay. Yeah, okay.
No. So he doesn't have the camera.
Okay, yeah, just stay on my shoulder. He's like a parrot. He's just like my pirate parrot.
I know.
Right? Yeah. JD, it was such a pleasure to talk to you.
Are you kidding me? Thank you for having me. And yeah, so let's chat again soon.
Let's see if we can do it again one day. Really, it's like, let's see how 2021 goes, the first half, and then we can have another talk and see how.
I know, right? Then we can be like, catch up. But thank you, thank you,
everybody. So much. Thank you so much for all your thoughts and your beautiful insights and your honesty. And thank you very much. And I hope some of you guys who are here, I hope you guys got a little bit inspired. I hope you guys felt what we feel a little bit, and maybe it helped some of you, to realize it's okay if things are weird and the life is weird right now to be weak. It's okay, because you're human, and that's totally fine. Absolutely. And you'll have other days again.
Yes.
Okay,
better
everybody.
days are coming. Bye, everybody. Bye, Jen.
Love
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye-bye.